Hi there! Welcome to the second block of Flowering Memories, and I'm excited to get started. I'm enjoying this slow along so much. Maybe about 30 minutes for each week to create this block. And it is the same as last time, and in fact, they're all the same, but with different colors, because this is a great skill builder. So if you struggle with 1/4 inch seams and which way to press and things like that, you're going to be doing it over and over. And when you do anything over and over again, it builds a skill. And I really enjoy, and I am getting better with every block that we do. So, all right, let's get started with block 2, and yeah, let's have some fun. Hey everyone. All right, let's start sewing. And like I said earlier, it's the same as the first one we did, and they're all the same. All these blocks are. But the good thing about this is it is building skills. So every time you do it, it gets easier and easier, right? And then you can do those seam allowances a little better, and you can press a little better, and you get more familiar with it. And then by the end, you're old hat and it's looking great. Okay, so my design board is not really big enough to lay it all out, but I did those, the top and the bottom where we're chain piecing a lot of things. So I'm going to go ahead and start chain piecing those things. I am going to actually start with these half square triangles. We can chain piece those, and I've got my little aliso ready to go. And I actually, earlier this week, I broke my 1/4 inch foot that has a guide on it. So I'm using a 1/4 inch foot that does not have a guide on it, which I don't love. I love my guide, but I've got another one coming, so eventually we will get it. All right. And I'm a little crazy right now because I'm getting ready for the Quilts of Valor testing group, and I'm feverishly trying to get those patterns written and ready to go. And I am crazy sewing like 12 hours a day. It's actually kind of nice. I know I'm like all up in the picture here, but I'm going to do some pressing. It's actually kind of nice to take a little break and do some slow sewing. I know we talk about our slow sew-alongs, but it really is a joy for me to kind of, instead of rushing all the time, to take my time. And hopefully you get to take your time when you do these blocks too, and you're not rushing too much. 1 block a week is not that bad, and you can sew with me. Okay, so I don't want to get this wrong. I am referring to my pattern. These go right on top of here. And we will sew that on. I know this big thing's kind of all up in the way. Once we get these done, I think I'm going to move it. And let's get this one on. I like chain piecing. My favorite. Okay, so we've got those little sitter units done. Again, this is coming together quick. If you didn't remember how to do it, I am glad to show you every week. I'm glad to sew this. I think this is such a beautiful little, and I'm just going to iron that away from that and not force that open. Most of these seams you can kind of press the way you would like. I don't like to fight fabrics. So if it wants to lay flat, you know what? Let's just let it lay flat. So I am pressing that. If you couldn't see, I'm pressing that down and letting that be open like that. All right, so that one goes there, and this one, yeah, I think we're doing it exactly the same way, and we're just gonna flip it over. Okay, so now we are ready. I'm gonna take this out because that's part of the center piece. We are just going to start sewing these together. I'm actually going to move this out of the way. It's a little bit cumbersome. So we'll kind of do it chain-like. Sewing that outer piece to the second piece. And doing the same on this one. Make sure you've got your fabrics turned the right direction. You don't want to get Jack out. Jack the Ripper. Though he's handy right here. This almost looks like Jill the Ripper. that pretty blue color. All right. And these, how we're pressing these is we're actually going to press toward the forepatch. And this is so that our seams will match up. Let me get these pieces out of the way. Whenever we're sewing the rows together. So remember on this one, it is a little picky which way that seam is pressed. You press toward the forepatch. And just get that pressed. I love this little mini Oliso. It's really nice when you're sitting here to sew those small seams that you might just finger press. It's been really nice with this wool mat that they have now that you can adjust it to all different sizes. Okay, so that goes like that. And what I'm going to do is get the next piece, which are our faux flying geese units. And it goes like that, but I'm going to make sure with my pattern, I always check my pattern before I sew, and it is that way. So now we are going to just sew these together and get your stiletto and hold that down. Don't put your finger under there. And then we're going to do the second one because, like I said, we are building these together. All right. You know, I probably should have done the other end when I was doing the chain piecing. That's okay. And on this pressing, I am pretty sure, yes, you're just going to let that thick seam press towards the forepatch. Nice. And again here towards, it wants to go that way, so we're going to let it go that way. Towards that forepatch. All right, we're going to leave this sitting right here. And we're doing the exact same because what you do for the bottom is you simply turn it over. And it's just easier to make sure you're doing it the same direction if you do them both at the same time and in the same direction. That way there's no chance of error. All right. I'm just going to sew these real quick before we attach it to the other piece. And then those top and bottom are done. It is going so much quicker this time. And it will just go quicker, more quickly and more quickly each time you do it. And we're not rushing at all. Not like I'm doing those quilts of valors. Boy, I am rushing on those. All right, again for this, even though it kind of wants to go like that, we're going to push it towards the 4 patch so that our seams can match up when we put the center unit together with these top and bottom units. And it's not that big of a seam, so it lays pretty nicely once you tell it where to go. And there we go. Just press that down. I love how flat that it gets on the wool mats. Looks so pretty. All right, now these units go on with the 4 patch like that. All right, and let's start getting these. These will be done. Whoops, my foot got slipped way back. Okay, here we go. And matching up these seams. Now our top and bottom units are complete. I'm just going to trim up a few of these threads so we don't have so much. And then again, we're pressing that faux flying geese unit away so it lays nice and flat. A little bit of static going on. There's our first unit, our first top or bottom. It can be either one. Right, everything is pressed nice and neat. All right, there is the top and bottom units, and they are ready to go. We just need to make the center unit and put it together, and that is it this week. It's a nice, like, calm 30 minutes or so. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is easy. I just need to sew these to the top and bottom of each. So we're just gonna chain piece that again. And I'm not even gonna bother to break that open right this second. I'm just gonna turn these around. And chain piece the other end. I hope y'all are having a great summer. We are in the doldrums of summer here in Houston. It is super hot. It was 109 at 1:30 today. I was glad I was in the air conditioning. My husband and kids moved some furniture into the shop and set up our TV because we're going to be doing that Zoom meeting later on this week for the Quilts of Valor. Maybe, I know Chris, you're going to be a part of that. So, I mean, you won't see the TV. Now these, what I did was I ironed towards the center. Towards the center. That's how I pressed these last time. Toward the center. All right. Okay, we're going to set those aside. Now, what is next on the center? Here are some of our pieces. I know this goes on the top and bottom of this. We can get to that in just a second. Well, let's go ahead and do our faux flying. I call it the faux flying geese. I've been doing a lot of flying geese lately. Oops, it's there we go. It was a little bit stuck. I think I'm going to flip this over so it's not starting on that real thick part. Yeah, that did better. All right. Now these, I remember we ironed these a little bit differently. We have to do it to that background to the opposite side as the top and bottom. I think it got me messed up last time and I had to do some seam ripping. Again, if you check the pattern, you won't make those mistakes. But I remember from last time. So instead of, putting this background here, which eventually it will be put with it, but it's in these units that we just made here, that's going to go there. So for these, we sew to the opposite side. Make sure I've got, right sides together. And what I'm going to do with this, since we're doing a lot of this piecing like this, make sure I'm going the right direction. I am. I'm going to go ahead and piece this as well. We just need to do a top and bottom. Okay, and we'll just take all these pieces apart. Trim, trim, trim. I'm going to sew this real quick. I kind of consolidate wherever I can. All right. Now this piece is done. Now how we pressed this is we press everything towards the center. Even when we start putting the other pieces together, we're going to press towards the center. That way we can match up seams really well. Okay, that's done. And how did I want to make sure how I press this. Okay, I left that open because that's a thick one to press over. So we're gonna let that stay open. Almost burned my finger there. Gotta watch out. This iron gets really hot. Okay, these units look really good. Now what we need to do, and this time I'm going to be a little more careful. So one side is facing like this. If you can see, one side's facing like this and one side's facing like this. So they are opposite. And I need to put, is it one of these? Yes, I need to put one of these here and one of these here. So if I had them facing the same way, then it's going to be wrong. Well, I guess we do top and bottom. It doesn't matter. That's interesting. Top and bottom, so it doesn't matter. I'm sitting here telling you. All right, top and bottom. I thought I made a mistake with this last time. It must have been another piece that I made a mistake. Or maybe it's one of the quilts I'm working on right now. I made a mistake. What I want to impress is I've gotten a little bit of complaints that I didn't prep correctly, or, you know, something like that. I am not perfect, and when I make a mistake, I want to show you, right? Because we all make mistakes and forget something that we've done a million times in the past, and it just slipped our minds for whatever reason. And so I want you to understand that I am human. Now, what I am going to do with this, when I know it's going this direction, because this is directional fabric, I am going to make sure this other piece goes the right direction. Do you know what I mean? So I probably should have done that all the way on the other one. Let's see how it turns out. Well, I guess I can. All right, so this one is going like this, and these houses are upside down. I don't want them to be that way. So I am actually going to take this off and redo this, because I want those directional fabrics to go the right way. So I should have done what I said to begin with, but that's okay. Jill the Ripper doesn't, it doesn't take too long. Okay, so how this one goes is like this. So I want the houses to go this way. See, it was almost like you didn't even make him, I didn't even make a mistake at all. So easy. Okay, so this one goes that way, and I've got the houses facing up. This one goes this way, so I want the houses facing up too. And this is just my particularness with this. If it doesn't bother you that your houses are upside down, and in fact, some other places on here, they're sideways and upside down. But for this particular spot in the block as a whole, I wanted them going the correct way. Okay. And I think they just go out like this. If it doesn't, my bad. I don't want to force that edge. All right. Now it's time to finish putting this unit together. So what we have is these two that go on the ends. I'm probably going to go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and put those on each end. Like this, and that fits in there very nicely. And on this side. All right. I love nested seams. Make sure we're all lined up. Not long now for this block. So I hope you have a fabulous week. Slipping into August. Where did the year go? Tell me what your plans are for August. Are you doing any last minute summer vacations with the grandkids? Any cruises? I know that some people are doing some Alaska cruises this August. And that's fun. I may be doing one next August. We will see how that works out. All right. I want to see how we press this. We press this towards this outer, towards the outer one, because we are nesting when we do the top and bottom. So Let's go ahead and press that out. Same thing here. Let's press that out. Oops. Okay. Now all we have to do is, there's our 2 units, is put this center unit in, and we're done. Then we just sew the top and bottom on, and that is it. Wow. I love how these come together. It's actually kind of fun sewing it. You're not doing, you know, we're past that doing 500 half square triangles or 4 patch blocks. This is the fun of creating the large block, right? Which is fun because now you're seeing it come together. I know a few of you are sewing because it's kind of exciting. You get this done, you're like, oh my gosh, that was so easy. I just want to do some more. That's fine. You sew at your pace. I'm going to take it nice and easy and really enjoy my time with this block. Like I said, I'm sewing like a mad woman for the Quilts of Valor. So this is a nice break from it. I have one more quilt to do, which I will be done by the time you get this video. I will probably be done with it. I'm sewing after this and then first thing in the morning, which maybe I'll be finishing up when you get this video. Because believe it or not, I'm not sewing too much ahead. It's the Sunday before, to be honest. So I'm here at the shop, kind of catching up a little bit. And again, we're pressing towards that center. Towards that center. So everything lines up nice and smoothly. I just like to press it and let it sit for a second so it really holds that seam on. We're dealing with some heavier, thicker seams with this. All right. So now your center unit is done. And you want to be careful when you're sewing the top and bottom on here now, because we are dealing with these directional fabrics. So this, I specifically did this and this where the houses were facing up. So I want to make sure the top goes up here and the bottom goes up here. All right. So now we're looking at, this is going to go up. I am going to pin. When it gets kind of long like this, I just want to hold it together and not fight with it while I'm sewing. But these seams are nesting. So make sure you nest those seams together and then just pin it. This is our other seam. I'm going to pin. This is our other seam going the opposite direction. And pin. Ooh, there's some thunder. I guess it's going to start raining again. It stormed early and it scattered storms around here. Hopefully I will get done before it hits. That way, in case I lose electricity, I don't lose this. Okay, so now let's move this out of the way and sew the top piece on. Make sure my starting point is good. I'm going to get the stiletto here because I want that to lay down very nicely. Okay. This wanted to kind of separate a little bit, so. Line that up a little bit better. Okay, the top is on. I am not going to bother pressing that at this time. I am just going to, look how pretty. Oh, just lovely. Okay, so remember your flying geese have to kind of point up on the bottom here. Okay. I know some people don't pin, and I am not the heaviest pinner. I don't pin everything, but when I'm dealing with these longer pieces and you've got quite a few seams that need to match up, I found it just sews together easier to give it a few pins. Then you're not fighting with it, the shifting quite as much. And that's really what I like, is not fighting with it. If I can avoid a fight at all costs, I will. All right, especially when it comes to sewing. Okay, we are pinned and ready to go. Oh, last sew line. Here we go. There's that thunder. And if you're wondering what stiletto I use, I know y'all probably have seen me use it a million times. This is the by Annie stiletto. And I love it because I'm not even anywhere near it. It's thin enough that I'm not struggling. And it's got a long neck here that I can stay nice and far away from it. Okay, and you see it's getting a little darker. There is the block. How fun is that? Let me turn. I was hoping to turn the light down so it wouldn't be so glaring. So pretty, and it's not even iron pressed out yet. That is this week's block. All right, moving on. 2 blocks in. How many blocks do we have total? 9 blocks. This is fun. I love this summer slow along. You can still get other projects done. Take your time with this beautiful one, and still in a couple months you will be done with this quilt. I'm just picking all these threads off of it. You will be done with this quilt. How amazing is that? Just in a couple of months. All right, it's been a joy sewing with you today, and I hope you've enjoyed it as well. And show me your blocks when you get done. I know most of you are using the kit, but if you're doing something else, that's fine. I would love to see your blocks. All right, guys, y'all have a beautiful week, and I'll see you next week.